Hello and welcome. Today we are going to compare the SJRC S20W with the SJRC S70W drones to see which one might be the best one for you. Now, for all intents and purposes, they both have the same exact features and are virtually the same drone. But both of these are GPS quadcopters. They have dual GPS, GLONASS, and are very quick to grab satellites and are very accurate. And they're brush motors. They have high definition cameras that are remote tilting. And they have return to home, auto takeoff, auto land, all the same features. And even they even use the same app and have the same features within the app. So for all intents and purposes, they are just about the same quadcopter, except the S20W is smaller than the S70W. But there are some key differences that may push you towards one or the other. So, and let's go over them. Right here, the S70W is obviously larger than the S20W. So it's a little bit more cumbersome to travel with. And the main difference, or the main thing to keep in mind here with the size difference, is that this one requires FAA registration while this one doesn't. This one right here, the S70W, weighs in at 677 grams, while the S20W weighs in at 185 grams, under half a pound. So this will require FAA registration while this one does not. So that may be a key difference there. You know, this one's smaller, lighter, it's safer, especially around kids. Doesn't require FAA registration, while this is a bigger drone, has more powerful motors. Now, going over the batteries of the drones, this one has a 7.4 volt, 2500 milliamp lithium ion battery, while this one has a 3.7 volt, 1000 milliamp lithium ion battery. And it's a lot easier to find batteries for the S20W, and also they take a lot longer to charge, but it does have a lower flight time. This one, the flight time on a full charge is about 14 to 15 minutes, maybe a little less, maybe 12 minutes. This one right here is about 9 minutes, 8 or 9 minutes right here. So that's something to keep in mind. But that shorter flight time is compensated by the fact that this requires less time to charge. Charging this battery might be anywhere between an hour to 90 minutes, while this one takes around a couple hours or more, maybe even like 3 hours. So that's something to keep in mind. As far as the range, they're very close in range. The S70W does have a longer flight range. I can go to a max of 500 meters, while the S20W can go up to 400 meters. So there is a 100-meter difference between the two, but you do get further distance on the S70W, and you get a little longer flight time on the S70W. But you get less charge time on the S20W, and it's a smaller, safer, more compact drone that does not require FAA registration. So these are a few key points that you may want to think about before purchasing one or the other. It all depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for that extra power, extra distance and flight time, then the S70W may be for you. But if you're looking for something a little more smaller, compact, a little safer, you know, kid-friendly or teenager-friendly, something to take out to the park, then the S20W may be the right choice for you. Now, they both have very similar specs. They both can come in 1080p cameras or 720p cameras. The cameras are remote tiltable. They're both brush motor quadcopters. Another key difference between these two drones is that this one, since it's bigger and has a bit more powerful motors, you can remove the camera down here and put a GoPro mount, something like this. You can mount it at the bottom, like a Bugs 3 or a Sima X8C mount, and take an action camera, like a GoPro or something to that effect, or a Firefly. While this one, you can't really do that. The strength of these motors is not enough to hold one of those cameras, and the mount is a bit small, so it really wouldn't support that too well. So if you're thinking about flying with an action camera or something to that effect, the S70W may be the way to go. If you're looking for more power, more lift power, longer flight time, a little further range, then the bigger drone, the S70W, may be for you. And if you're looking for a smaller, easier to charge drone where the parts are maybe a little easier to find, like the batteries, something that even comes with a smaller controller, this might be the drone for you, the S20W. So now also notice that the transmitters are also a bit different. The transmitter on the S70W is larger than the transmitter on the S20W. That may or may not make a difference to the pilot, but you know, this one is more of like a gamepad type transmitter, while this one's more of like a conventional or traditional quadcopter transmitter. And they both pretty much perform the same functions and they do the same things, but maybe somebody may prefer the larger size over the other one, or vice versa. So that may be something to consider. That's essentially it. I will put links in the description for both these drones, and hope you found this informative. See you later.